Back from hiatus and ready to roll. Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and thank you for joining us for your one-stop shop for sports picks, politics and government chatter, and even some neighborhood restaurant reviews. Instead of going to 3 different channels, you can come here every week for the Pulse on everything you need to know. And why don't we begin with our Picks with Peter B segments? And we have some exciting news to share with you. We are going to have 3 new sports insiders here on the Pulse with Peter B every week. And today, we are joined by none other than News 12's own sports reporter, Mr. Greg Thompson. Greg, how are you today?
Honored to be the first of 3.
First of 3 is good, right? Better being first and last, correct?
We'll find out. I'll let other people be the judge of that.
I like that. Well, let's jump right in because we have 4 divisional playoff matchups in the NFL this week, as we know. And why don't we start with those red-hot Indianapolis Colts going out to Kansas City to play the number 1 seed, the Chiefs. But what's interesting is this year the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-4 against teams that are in the postseason with them. What do you think of this game?
There's a lot of questions about this game because, like you said, with the Chiefs, they've been sort of the flavor of the week a few times, maybe earlier in the season. They might have peaked too early. If you look at the recent games, they've played a lot of close games lately, especially since they had all of their legal off-the-field issues that they went through. It was a move they had to make, but did it hurt them short term? You have Andy Reid in the playoffs, which has its own bag of worms. We don't know what's going to happen there. He sort of has to win a game before we can see it. We've never seen Pat Mahomes, so will probably be the MVP. He's been, if there's one narrative of the season, it's been Pat Mahomes and everything about him. So we have all these people that have hype, but they haven't necessarily proven it yet, versus that Colts team, which, again, we don't know what to expect. They were maybe the most impressive team last week, at least for a half or so before they went into cruise control. Andrew Luck, just the fact that he's even in this position is crazy now, but he has to get it done here. We have a coach who is new to this sort of situation, so a lot of guys who either because they haven't done it here or because we've seen them not be able to do it here. Right. We don't really know what to expect. It's a lot of X factors up in the air, not a lot of sure things.
So what do you think? Who do you think? I'm going to put you back against this brick wall. You know this.
It is. It's cold. It's cold out. The brick is that we need a fireplace in here for this brick, and none of this is helping. I'm going to go with Kansas City.
Very good. Okay.
Which is it's probably the wrong choice, probably because Andy Reid is going to find a way to mess this up somehow. Right. But I just think that they still have too much talent on offense. If you're a betting man, and last I checked, and we are in New Jersey, so you can do that here.
Did you have to smell?
They're trying to get me in trouble and run out of here just like that.
On your first shout.
if you are a betting man, I think you want to pound the over here no matter how high it gets. There's going to be a lot of points. I do think that Kansas City is maybe just a little more talented, can maybe run up the score a little more against the Colts team that maybe is a year away from competing for a Super Bowl.
Interesting. Okay, great. Well, why don't we move into the Saturday night matchup, and that's the Dallas Cowboys, which everybody knows is probably going to be a home game for the Dallas Cowboys with the amount of fans that are going to be out in the Coliseum. Thoughts and analysis about Cowboys going to L.A. to play the Rams?
So again, with the Rams, sort of a similar thing, where beginning of the year, this was a team, people were talking, are they going to go undefeated, we were saying. And now they also, the last month or so, maybe not quite so impressive. Even the games they're winning, they've sort of just been squeaking out. Big mystery is Todd Gurley, that we don't know, is he going to play? How much is he going to play? Right. Are they going to be able to fully utilize him? Is he just going to be a decoy? So that might swing the game right there. We just talked about how Pat Mahomes is maybe the story of the season. The story of the early offseason for the teams that didn't make it has been Sean McVay. If you say that you once were in a bathroom stall next to him, you get a head coaching job. So suddenly he has to back that up and show that in the playoffs, last year he had all the hype and he was one and done. He has to sort of back up that he is the boy wonder. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you have America's team. Right. You have the star.
The star.
You have Jerry.
And Jerry. Of course.
All of that. Of course. All of that. You have, Amari.
I like the dramatics, by the way.
Look, when it's the Cowboys,
it's all about dramatic.
Exactly. When you've won 0 Super Bowls in the last 20 years, this is what you get.
So who do you like?
I think that I'm going to go with L.A. there. I just think there's too many questions about Dak. As much as Zeke can get it done, I just think that LA still does have too much talent on there, and I think as long as you can get something out of Gurley, they have enough options.
Interesting. Well, let's get to the Sunday games. And the early game Sunday, and everybody is high on the Chargers right now. I mean, I've talked to everybody, and they're like, oh, they're going to go up to Foxborough and knock off the Brady-Belichick regime. What do you think?
It's so funny because this really could finally be, after we've said this for the last how many years, this could be the end of Brady and Belichick. There's all the questions have been there, they've been brewing, and they did sort of what they always do. They play in a terrible division, they rack up the wins, they get the first round bye. Usually that means they get a rat team in this divisional round and just sort of coast into the conference championship game. That's not happening now. So we're going to see, was this all a charade? Can Gronk all of a sudden be Gronk again? Can Brady pull something out?
If he's healthy, right? I feel like the guy's always injured.
Exactly, and it's like a lot of people say, they sort of keep him wrapped up and try and save him for games like this. So we'll see if the two of them can sort of turn back the clock and get something done. Meanwhile, you have Phil Rivers, who's sort of always been, he might be the most underrated quarterback of the generation. He's so good, and he's just never been able to, he obviously doesn't have that ring. It's just the time he does it. They have maybe as good of a defense as they've ever had when he's been there. They have as good of a run game as they've had since he's been there. So it seems like they have all those things going for them. Maybe the one thing going for the Patriots is that they're the Patriots. And it's one of those things where until those guys go down, it's tough to believe that they're going to go down. But I'm still going to say they're going to go down.
All right, there you go. All right, the final game. You have the defending Super Bowl champions, the Eagles, visiting New Orleans. Obviously, I feel like the Eagles are winning by the skin of their teeth. Do you think they pull it off again by the skin of their teeth?
I'm surprised. I'm shocked to hear you say that. Shocked that you would pick the Eagles. And look, this is the big one for the weekend, and we're not just talking about Nick Foles here. I mean, he does have that magic in the playoffs. He does seem to find a way. I don't see how they win this game. I know they played back in November, and New Orleans absolutely shellacked them. It was one of the biggest losses a defending Super Bowl champion has ever had.
Right.
I don't think that happens again. And certainly every week that you have with Nick Foles, there is another chance for them to sort of build the offense around him, figure out things to do with him, and they love this underdog thing. They love this nobody believes in us thing. They're just not on the same level. New Orleans legitimately could win the Super Bowl. And I think, again, we talked about Rivers, again, Brees. This could be a chance to really cement himself in a conversation as one of the all-time greats and get that second ring. Offensively, just the number of ways they can beat you. I think that there seems to be a lot of, we talked about teams that peak too early. They might be a team that seems like is starting to peak at the right time.
There you go. Well, Greg, how do you feel?
I feel like the next two people don't have a lot to live up to.
Don't have a lot to live up to. I like that. Well, that's Greg Thompson, sports anchor for News 12, and we're so happy to have you here on the Pulse with Peter B. And thank you for coming in. Folks, don't go away, as Josh Sotomayor-Einstein will join us right after the commercial break and discuss the new plastic bag bans in both Hoboken and Jersey City. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
Welcome back to The Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. And folks, we had a little breaking news when we were at commercial. Unfortunately, Myrana, our foodie here on The Pulse with Peter B every week, has called out sick. But don't worry, it's not from the restaurants that she's been eating at for her reviews. We hope to have her back next week. we know you're watching. We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you next week. And folks, tune in for her review of Ani Ramen, next week here on The Pulse with Peter B. But why don't we get to our Politics with Peter B segment, where we're joined every week by our political analyst, Mr. Joshua Sotomayor Einstein, and he's fedora-less this week. Josh, what's going on with the fedora? Did you get a haircut or something?
It was time for one of my quarterly haircuts.
Quarterly haircuts,
4
okay.
times a year.
Okay,
Yep.
So the fedora should be back in a couple weeks, I'm hoping,
Well,
correct?
technically it was a pork pie, but
A pork pie, excuse me.
very similar to a fedora.
All right. So you can see how I can get confused. So Josh, today we're going to be discussing, as we previewed on our Facebook page earlier this week, the single-use plastic bag bans. They are no longer permissible in both Hoboken and Jersey City, not as of yet. The Hoboken ban takes effect on January 22nd, and the Jersey City ban will take effect, I believe, this summer. So, of course, now, whenever you go to an establishment, you cannot use a plastic bag. It has to be either a reusable paper bag, which can cost anywhere between 5 and up to 25 cents, or just a reusable bag, which is made out of other material. So, Josh, curious.
Hold on, I just want to stop you right there for
Absolutely.
1 second. A, it's always great to be here. But B, one of the things you said, I think in the first 5 words, you said a single-use plastic bag. And it's excellent messaging, and it's also BS.
Okay.
Because anytime there's a policy issue and you have these sort of virtue signaling crusaders that just want to do something regardless of its environmental impact because they think it's a good idea, you have this, they take a normal word like plastic bag, right? And they put something that makes it seem evil, like, oh, it's a single-use plastic bag, people never use it after they use it.
So you're saying they're using phraseology to scare people into not using it,
It's great
correct?
it's great messaging, but it's scare tactics, because the reality is everybody knows that you come home from the supermarket, right? And you use that plastic, you stick it under the sink, and then you use it, it gets used again.
It's reusable, absolutely. And if you look at, and I'm sure Jersey City will be like this as well, Jersey City really didn't update their website yet about what their ban is going to consist of, but if you look at the Hoboken City website, there are a number of uses for plastic bags, such as newspapers, produce, laundry. So is it a ban or is it not a ban?
Well, so you're saying that these uses are prescribed
Are still
and allowed.
permissible after 22nd, correct?
Yeah, it's rather arbitrary.
Correct.
They're making these carve-outs in the local law, and they want to say, well, this is okay, but that's not okay. And their theoretical reasoning overall for the ban is that, well, it contributes, the plastic contributes to the pollution. When the reality is that plastic bags from the supermarkets are less than 0.5% of all plastic pollutants in the United States, that it's actually a byproduct. Our plastic bags aren't made from petroleum or oil. It's actually a byproduct from the natural gas process, like the processing. So we're actually taking something that would be a waste chemical and turning it into something that's useful, that something gets used once or twice or sometimes even 3 times before it's thrown out. And the actual carbon footprint of the plastic bags is actually so minuscule and low that it's actually the most environmentally friendly option. It doesn't seem that way. It seems counterintuitive, especially when you have these virtue signaling crusaders that have latched onto an idea because it seems to be easy.
So do you believe both cities are being genuine, or is this just smoke and mirrors?
Oh, it's not only is it virtue signaling, but it is distraction politics. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in Jersey City or in Hoboken, there are way more pressing issues that it is proper for local government to get involved in. We also see the same thing. I know we're going to talk about it later, but we also see the same thing on the state level with the state ban or the state fee, rather, for the plastic bags that the Murphy administration has done.
But when you say crusaders, because I'm going to go back to that, who are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the type of people that, will not suffer the economic consequences of the policies that they put forward. And it's not that plastic bags don't end up in any sort of pollution or any sort of waste management dumps or sites, because obviously some do. But the reality is that it's a minuscule problem statistically compared to other plastics, that it doesn't actually come from petroleum, and that it'll raise the cost of living by raising the expenses at the supermarket and at the takeaway joints for everybody that lives in these two towns. And the same people that often, push for these environmentally, like these supposedly pro-environmental policies that have a negligible impact, if at all, are often the ones that can easily absorb, a couple more dollars at the supermarket. And yet these are often the same people that complain about how Hoboken or Jersey City are becoming economically homogenous.
Correct.
So you can't, on the one hand, raise the cost of living with many, many policies that they push, and at the same time bemoan the consequences of those policies, and also be exempt from them because of your economic status.
So let's look at the paper bags that they're going to be forcing more people to use and more businesses to distribute, even to charge people and things like that. Would you say that that's even harmful for the environment as well, because more trees are going to be pretty much axed, because obviously now the only bags that can be used, besides those reusable, I guess, wool bags or whatever they're made of, are going to be paper?
They're going to be paper bags, and people are going to be charged for the privilege of using them between 10 and 25 cents. And that's
amazing.
That's all legislated by our municipal government.
And by the way, I believe the bans in both municipalities passed unanimously. There wasn't a vote against it. So both city councils thought that this is a great idea and we should move forward with this idea. But I have to tell you, the public is outraged. I've never seen the public so angry about plastic bags before. I mean, how are people going to pick up their dog feces? I mean, is that part of this laundry list of plastic bag exceptions?
I mean, people will continue to buy the poop bags for their dogs, right?
Correct.
It's not, there's no sort of secret police style raids on people having plastic bags or ordering them through the internet. But we do have a situation where when it comes to the economics, there is death by, or it's like Chinese water torture, right? Which is one little drop, now big deal. Keep one little drop going in one spot over and over and over and over again 1 million times, and it becomes painful.
Right.
And that's what these people are doing with their good intentions, right? But that's what they're doing.
Well, we're going to stop you right there. Folks, when we come back, Josh will still be in studio. We're not done talking about the plastic bag bans. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
Pen & Pencil Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at penandpencilproperties.com. Pen & Pencil Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. And as mentioned when we came back from our last break, unfortunately, my Ron is under the weather, so we're going to skip our Places with Peter B segment this week and just save her food review for Ani Ramen for next week. So make sure you tune in for that. And like I said, we know you're watching, and we hope you feel better. But still in studio live is our political analyst, Mr. Josh Sotomayor Einstein, still without a fedora. I thought he might have went home and picked it up in a 2-minute commercial, but he didn't. He still wants to show off the haircuts. And we were talking about the plastic bag ban in both Jersey City and Hoboken. And Josh, obviously businesses are going to be affected by this, correct? So what happens if a business keeps providing single-use plastic bags? Will they be fined? Meaning, is this going to be another hidden tax on already struggling businesses in both municipalities?
So you have the hidden tax. That's obviously the penalty, because there are tons of businesses that still across town don't know about it. Because I've been inside corner stores and takeout joints and sit-down joints, and I asked them, what are you going to do when the bag ban goes into effect? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
And they look at me like I'm crazy. And then I try to explain to them what's going on. And some of them, their management knows already, and some of them are like, we have no idea what's going on. So I definitely think there's a problem of outreach. But whether it's with the penalty or whether it's the state surcharge for plastic and paper bags, or the municipal charge for paper bags, it is a hidden tax, like you said. And it's how much more can you tax the people of New Jersey and the people of Hoboken and the people of Jersey City? When is enough?
That's exactly my point. And it's so interesting because I agree with you. I don't think the municipalities are doing the right thing by making businesses aware of these bans. I mean, I know as our audience knows, and as you know, my parents own a small business in Hoboken, and I don't even think that they're aware of it as well. So it's going to be interesting if they start doling out fines without doing their due diligence on letting businesses know. So staying on regulation, because I know you love talking policy and regulation, is this just another example of the government interference on what people choose to do? I mean, is there going to be a law that the city council or a legislation that the city council that is going to pass about how we walk down sidewalks next?
I mean, listen, well, government, municipal, county, state, and federal level often try to, get into our lives as intimately as possible. Whether it's those outdated laws that said, what you could do in your bedroom with who, and regulated with who you could do it with, to now what sort of bag you can carry when you're buying something in a store back to your place. It's not the role of government to tell you what you can do when you're not physically harming somebody else. Mm-hmm. And we see there's some pushback on some issues, like with the marijuana issue, which we talked about in the past. More people.
2 segments on in the past.
more people are coming to realize if you're not directly harming somebody, that's not a reason to ruin someone's life. And if we look at the efforts of these social justice warriors and their virtue signaling politics when it comes to the bag ban or the efforts to make all straws paper again, we see a similar push to regulate what people can and can't do, and basically to speak down to people, to say your choices are morally wrong because this will help 0.05% of all landfills. And that's why we should make your life more expensive, make it harder for you to live in town. And it's really
just another burden. I mean, it's not only a monetary burden, but it's probably a mental burden as well. I mean, what if a person decides to go into a small business in Hoboken or Jersey City with a plastic bag and say, you know what, I want to use this plastic bag, it is reusable. They could do so, correct? I mean, will the businesses say, no, I can't put my product in your bag?
Well, listen, if anybody wants to join me, I'll order a bunch of plastic shopping bags. We'll have them delivered.
Before the 22nd?
No, after the 22nd, and we'll just stand outside Acme and ShopRite and King's and we'll charge people less than the 10 to 25 cents for the paper bags. And so we'll defeat the ridiculousness of this ban, or we'll just give them out. If anybody wants to join me in that, I think that would be a fun, terrific stunt to do.
Right, and ridiculousness is a word that we're seeing from the outrage at the public, and they come up to me, they talk about their gripes and things like that, and really who they should have been going up to were their city councils in their respective towns. I mean, but can anything be done?
Well, in terms of this, I think that this really shows what a small group of dedicated citizens that want to tell everybody else how they need to live can be effective in getting their message across. Right. Because clearly the majority of town and of people think these things are a nuisance and annoying, but it doesn't bother them enough to actually organize to try to stop it. And on the other side, there's a small group of very dedicated would-be do-gooders that think they're doing the environmental equivalent of the Lord's work, so to speak. And obviously they ignore all the pertinent facts about how, as I said before, about how it's made from a byproduct chemical from natural gas, and how it's such a tiny, tiny percentage. And also how there's actually recycling centers for plastic bags, and it's easy to recycle them.
So let me ask you, do you think more cities all over the state of New Jersey will follow suit on this legislation? Will they look at Hoboken and Jersey City and say, yeah, that's a good idea for the environment. We should do that in our towns as well? I mean, you spoke about New Jersey enacting a ban where I think it was, like you said, 5 cents per plastic bag when you go to any establishment. I mean, will other cities just say, let's do it, let's ban plastic bag?
I think most cities in the state of New Jersey are going to leave it alone. Their environmental crazy lobby is going to be satisfied more than less, or at least placated with the state law. And the state law is atrocious as well.
Right.
Because
what makes it atrocious?
Well, if I go to the supermarket and I get 20 bags of food, and I get 20 plastic bags, and I do this once every 2 weeks, and I'm feeding, I don't know, I'm not actually feeding a family of 4, but suppose I am, then that's 5 to 10 cents a bag extra every 2 weeks. That adds up to my bottom line. Now, assume that I'm in the lower working class,
right,
and that I'm not making so much money. All these types of social justice warriors always complain about the little guy, right? So let's be the little guy for a second. Now, you've just added to his cost of living or her cost of living.
Right.
And that's not fair. And all of these types of laws where it's this virtue signaling nonsense that reaches into our lives, they cost money. And
right.
all of the people that push them at the top are always from the economically gilded class. And that's fine. God bless their success. But they're exempt from the consequences of the laws that they push. It's the little guy and the little woman that have more of their paycheck zapped
Josh,
up.
Thank you so much for your insights. That's Josh Sotomayor Einstein, our political analyst, every week here on The Pulse with Peter B. Join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. Have a great day, everybody.